Welcome back to part 6 of the silver cell anode filters recovery and refining series of videos. Here I'm using dilute nitric acid and lots of heat to get all the silver dissolved out of our material before we proceed. It is the following morning, and I allowed this solution to boil in here until all the fumes cleared up. Turned it off and let it cool overnight. And if you look down in here, I'm not quite sure what we got going on in there. There's layers of different densities of material in there. And please remember, I'm just kind of making this up as I go. I don't have a whole lot of experience working with these filters. And so now I'm trying to figure out what I need to do next to make this thing move along. Someone was eager for some stannous chloride checks in the comments, so let's go ahead and get one of those now and see if we've got any indications of precious metals in our solutions. There, I can see a little bit of a stain forming. Darker on the back. So we've got some precious metals in our solutions. Set it over here. What we'll do next is just move this beaker off the heat source. Set it over here out of the way. I'm going to pull up our anode filters up here and put those on our heat source. Let me set this back out of the way just a little bit so we can create some room for ourselves. I'm adding a little distilled water to these filters. Now what we'll do is add some nitric acid into this beaker with our filters in it. I'm going to add some low heat. We're just going to let these filters simmer for a little bit. I'm going to turn our attention over here to the liquid in this beaker. I need to gain a little bit of height, so we're going to try to siphon the solution out of here. In part 5, when I filtered out this extraction of nitric acid from the solids, I collected this material in a filter paper, and now it's dry. I don't know what that is. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to store these filters in a covered container with a tight fitting lid, because I don't want this material getting airborne. I don't know what it is. It could be platinum group metals. So we're going to stick it into a closed container with a tight fitting lid and store it this way until we're ready to process these filters. Let's get set up to filter the solution. Only when we're on camera. I got it in there okay. Let's get it down here into our filter flask. Okay, I just snapped and realized that I used this funnel to filter out the palladium residue from my last palladium extraction. So this is going to have DMG residue in it. So that's not the right filter, or funnel rather, to use for this. So we're going to use another filter, a funnel that I have here. It's a plastic funnel, and we're going to use this to try to filter our silver solution. because this won't have any DMG in it. This one over here could have some DMG residue and create some problems for us when we go to try to filter it. I'm glad I snapped on that. Now I'll use this funnel to filter out the silver solution that's had the palladium platinum removed from it with the DMG. It's you got to be careful using funnels for different solutions. You could create some cross contamination, and that's why I use this funnel. It's a 12.5 centimeter Buckner funnel, ceramic, and I use this filter only for filtering silver solutions. So we're going to go over here to our table and put this in another flask. All right, this is the solution from part 5 that's had DMG added to it, and we need to filter the solids out of this solution before we can cement the silver out, and so we'll do that through this funnel. Got 2 filtering operations going on simultaneously, and so we're gonna try to speed things along by doing this. And as you can see down in this funnel down here, it's got big holes, which is undesirable, because if you pull too much vacuum on those big holes, then it will cause the filter paper to fail. So we got to go slowly here and bleed off some of the vacuum as we do this filtering operation. This is my 5-gallon bucket that I'm using to cement the silver out of this liquid. There's copper in that 5-gallon bucket, and the silver will react with the copper and come out of solution on the copper and then settle to the bottom of that bucket. Okay, the solution that I'm pouring in there right now has had the palladium removed with DMG earlier in the series, and I've noticed that when I let it set overnight, after I've filtered out all the palladium salt, that it accumulates some other solids in the liquid. And so what I'm doing here with this filtering operation is removing those solids from that silver solution. I'm not quite sure what's in the solids. We'll save these filters and process them later on and see what kind of metals, if any, are in these solids that I'm filtering out of this liquid. There was a piece of copper in this bucket to cement out the silver out of that solution. I'm fishing around with that glass rod trying to find it, but I couldn't find it. I think it got completely consumed by the reaction. So I'm going to have to add some more copper to this bucket. This reaction happens fairly quickly. The silver comes out of solution as the copper goes into solution. Here I'm adding some distilled water to ensure that the solution is properly diluted. If it's not diluted, then what will happen is the silver will passivate on that piece of copper and prevent the silver solution from coming in contact with the copper, and the reaction will cease. So that's why it it's important to dilute it. Here you can see the reaction happening right in front of your eyes. That's the silver coming out of solution as the copper goes into solution. I don't know what caused it, but I noticed that the solution, the filtrate down in that flask, was cloudy. So what I'm doing here is getting the filter out of the way, and I'm going to pour off the cloudy solution into a clean beaker and set it off to the side, because I'm going to have to refilter it, filter it again to get it to clear up. And I'm running out of room because my big flask is full of other silver solution. So I'm using these smaller 2-liter flasks. And I'm going to just get this solution out of the way now. It's going to have to be refiltered. We're going to set the filter flask back up like it was before and start pulling the solutions back through that same filter. And here you'll notice that I just pick up the big beaker and I just start pouring the solution in. And I noticed that it's like a liquid black tar looking stuff. It's suspended solids. I don't know what's in there, but it looks like it could be some precious metals suspended in that liquid. I've had those filters simmering in dilute nitric acid now for a little while, and you'll notice that the solution in there is green. There's a little bit of precious metals in those filters, but not a whole lot. And so what we're going to do now is transfer the hot dilute nitric acid from the beaker that has the filters in them. That's beaker number 2 in the back there with the filters in them. And we're going to transfer that nitric acid now into our solids in beaker number 1 so that we can remove more of the silver and possibly extract some more palladium from the solids in beaker number 1. Okay, I've got some fresh nitric acid in here, and we're starting to see a decent result now. I'm starting to see some black powder forming down here, and whenever I see black powder, that usually means precious metals. And so we're going to go ahead and let this cook for a while in this fresh nitric acid. If you look down here, this filter is going to have some black solids in it. And this is the filtrate, nice and clear. But when we first started this, I got a cloudy solution. I have to pour all this liquid back through the filter a second time until it looks clear like this solution here. This is our silver solution that we took all the palladium and platinum out of, and we're filtering all those solids out of that solution. And then when I'm done with that, I add this liquid into this bucket and cement the silver out on that piece of copper in this bucket. I've got all the solids filtered out of that silver from the DMG precipitation. We'll add this to the cementation bucket and get the silver out of this solution. If you look in this filter, you've got a little bit of a cake forming, a black material, and I think that might be precious metals. This is our first sign of some recovery of some precious metals. And our solution down here is nice and clear. So what we're going to do now is grab this solution and pour it back through that same filter and see if we can get this to clear up like the solution down here in this flask. We've still got this reaction going on in our beaker up here. This is our solids. And we're finally starting to get somewhere with this, I believe. Eventually, I'm going to have a solution that has excess nitric to ensure we got all the silver out of there. But for now, I'm just letting this solution come to a rolling boil and all the fumes clear up to ensure all the excess nitric is gone. Okay, this is starting to look pretty good. Looking like we might be getting ready to get some results here. I still got some solids in there I can feel. So we're going to have to keep going with some nitric acid boils here. But I think we've got enough in there for this cycle. So I'm just going to turn this off now and let this cool down. This filtering operation is going well. It's slow, but we're getting a clear liquid down here, which is what we're after. And we've got some solids in this filter here that are probably going to contain some precious metals. So I'm going to continue to filter this cloudy solution back through this filter. This is the material that we filtered out of our silver solution that had the palladium and platinum removed with DMG. Here's our solution. I'm going to add this to our cementation bucket. This is our residue that came from the silver. I'm going to save the filter in my container here. I don't know what this is, but it could be precious metals. Put it in here with this group of filters and keep it in a covered dish with a tight fitting lid. This is just some rinse water in here that I ran out of room in the other flask, so I just rinsed the material that was in that filter, and this is the rinse water. I'm going to add this to my cementation bucket. I added some water to this to dilute it. You can see our piece of copper in here is cementing out the silver. Give this a stir. What we'll do is add this rinse water. This is our nitric oil. It's starting to cool off. You can see it's starting to separate and classify in there. And this is our solution that we're still filtering from our cloudy solution from this first filtering. Pouring this back through the same filter a second time. Get it cleaned up, cleared up. Got down to the bottom of the beaker, and it looks like there's some silver chloride down in there. So I'm not going to add that into the filter there. There you can see a better shot of it. I don't want to put that in with my black solids that I've collected in that filter. And look at our solution, nice and clear. Here's what's in our filter now. It's a black substance. And I think that this could possibly be some precious metals in this form. Now what we're going to do is rinse this material off in a different flask. And I've got this now collected. It's nice and clear solution. This should have some palladium in it. Put it up here out of the way, and now what we'll do is hook up our vacuum to this flask. If you remember last time I tried to rinse this with some water and I got some precipitate to form in my good clear solution, so we're going to rinse this off now with some distilled water. We're going to transfer our solution into a clean beaker. Looks real good. Here's our DMG that I've got dissolved in a little bit of water. I'm going to try to put some alcohol in here and see if that helps dissolve this any. DMG does not dissolve well in plain water, so I'm adding a little bit of alcohol. See if that helps. And I guess it kind of does. Here we go. We're going to pour our DMG into our solution here. We should have a little bit of palladium in here. Let's see what happens. Just kind of hang it out on top. Let's go ahead and give this a stir. And see if we can get some more palladium out of this solution. I can tell from this precipitation that the palladium is being extracted, and there's not very much left in our solids in beaker number 1. Let's make us up a filter paper and go ahead and filter out our palladium salts now out of our solution back here. These are all of our products so far from this recovery series. This is our DMG precipitate from this last amount of silver. Add that into our beaker over here. Hang on to that. And if you look down here, we've got the our silver in solution. And I'll let that settle overnight. It should create some more solids in here. We'll filter that out and add those to the solids that we have in our closed container. And then back here, if you look back here, we've got our black solids. Now that's going to be some precious metals. And that's part of the prize that we're after. We're getting very close to being completed here. Once we get all this black material into in some filters, then we can refine this into precious metals, pure metal, gold, silver, or gold or platinum or palladium. And back here is our silver solution that we've done nitric boil on, and we'll get that liquid off of there and continue doing the nitric acid boils. And so for now, this will conclude part 6 of the silver cell anode filters recovery and refining series of videos. Thank you for watching.